What's up, guys? How y'all doing? Tonight, we're gonna be joining a cult. So, hope you have a good time. Step on in. I'm Stephen Dwyer,
I'm Andrew Seelig,
I'm Nicholas Pisconti.
and this is SOS Cinema.
and we're watching Midsommar. Is that what it's called?
I heard just Midsommar.
Midsommar.
Things like Summer Ray, but like
TikTok
Ray,
star?
Yes.
TikTok, Instagram, personnel,
The
Yeah.
movie's all about
fitness.
Instagram.
It's about her.
mogul.
Is it about her?
Yeah, it's about her. The movie's
Really?
all about her. Actually, it's pretty interesting. So, if you
It's
haven't
one of
seen
those new
Midsommar
biopics.
and you like Summer Ray, this is basically just her upbringing, her start, and into her fitness career. So definitely go check it out.
And she was raised in a cult, in case you didn't know.
Yeah, in Sweden.
Nah. So basically, this movie is about a cult in Sweden,
Right.
and
A village,
it starts out as like a little like festival. Oh, we're having a fun little midsummer festival
of course.
for the solstice, and
But it
their
was
friend,
a special festival.
yeah, their friend kind of tricked.
Midsummer Festival.
A 90-year, once every 90-year festival.
Really, I didn't know it was that.
Yeah, in the village of Harga.
Me and Steve go every 90 years. So
Really.
don't disrespect.
Yeah, the last one was a banger. You should have been there, Andrew.
Yeah. At least 3 people.
I wasn't.
died.
I wasn't invited. Where
Well,
was
it was
my
probably
invite?
good.
Was it lost in the mail?
No. We just weren't
Yeah.
recruiting you that year.
The-
We'll probably recruit you this year.
The Oracle,
Oh, okay.
he didn't see you in his dreams.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
just what
okay.
happens, you know?
The inbred oracle.
Sometimes you're not the chosen one. Hey,
Anyway, so yeah, like their friend kind of tricks him into going to that thing, pretty much.
Right.
Pell is
Pele.
his name. Pele, yeah.
Hold
And
up.
He is such a great salesman. I love. He was honestly the most likable character.
I
in the
hated
so
him.
nice.
I hated
Even
him
though
so
he
much.
was like, you knew he was a rat at a certain point, but it's like, damn,
But he was like a nice rat.
yeah. He knew what he was doing. He
Definitely.
was great at pulling people into that cult.
I kind of like too in this movie. There's like 2 different plots. The first like 15 minutes could be like the start of its own movie, and don't necessarily have anything to do with like the movie. I guess it does. Maybe.
Yeah, it took me in one direction and then brought me in a whole other direction. 'Cause I
Yeah,
thought it'd be
and-
about like her sister being like a possessed demon.
Right.
And this movie is also directed by Ari Aster, the same guy who directed Hereditary.
Go back and listen to that podcast.
Hereditary was kind of similar, where the first part
Both
felt
A21.
They're like Hereditary almost feels like 2 scary movies,
Right.
where you have like the one climax with the girl.
Let's not talk about that
and
movie right
then,
now. Let's
yeah,
go back.
you know, you can
Watch
go
it
back.
yourself and listen to our podcast. But right now, her Midsummer.
Going back to the movie, I really enjoyed the very first part when they show you the old like folklore drawing, from the village, and if you pause the movie and you look closely at everything, and I'll see like you wanna tell them what to do right now.
What? Oh yeah, if you haven't watched the movie yet, go back, watch the movie, and then listen to the podcast because there's gonna be major spoilers in this. And you hear a dog barking, he's telling you to watch the movie. So watch the
Yeah.
movie.
Exactly.
Yeah, a
Listen to
little
the
pupper.
dogs. Anyway, so at the beginning of the movie, you want to pause it and you want to look at this drawing. You can actually see the plot points that happen throughout the movie. There's a depiction of everything that happens within the festival,
Maybe it's like a
and like down to like
Is that a
their-
quilt?
like
The
they
quilt thing?
no, it's like a wood painting.
Wait,
And
what
they
part?
even show like the specific characters, like Danny, Mark, Christian. I forgot the other
I
kid's
totally
name.
missed that.
is it a prophecy?
Yeah, I'm guessing. Well, like the guy says later on, they take the drawings of their oracle, and the elders interpret them.
Wait, so was this drawing when they were in America still, or do we see it when they go to Sweden? Because
It's the very first shot of the movie before they show anything.
movie.
Pretty sure.
Okay. The intro scene type
Yeah,
deal.
like the harp comes in. It's like dun dun dun
Yup.
dun dun, and it pans over the painting.
Very cool. I remember that now. Okay, for
Nice little detail.
sure. Going off that too, funny. We'll talk about this later, like in detail. But the quilt scene, if you notice when they're outside showing off the area that they're in, they're staying in the grounds. They go by a quilt and it shows this depiction of like blood and a girl, and taking like a little hair from like her
Yeah.
nether regions. I'll say to keep it PC. And that also depicts a big part of the movie. So
Yeah.
Yeah. To kind of go back to the beginning a little bit, I think it's kind of funny. So, it's, Mark, no, not Mark, Christian,
Christian is the boyfriend.
probably like the worst character. Like
asshole.
Yes.
Ari Aster completely
irredeemable.
just like threw that guy into the fire in that movie. Like he
Yep.
gave him no redeemable qualities. his girlfriend's family just died. And he's like, oh, I gotta stop calling me. Like,
Yeah, he
really,
literally-
really
he was-
unsupportive.
He was already fully checked out of that relationship, and then he just kind of like stayed with her.
Yeah, and he invited her to Sweden with them because he wanted to be nice. Didn't think she was gonna come.
Right.
And then that creepy friend Pele was like, "Yo, I really wanted you to come. I'm really glad you're coming."
Right.
And it's like pretty funny how like as soon as everyone walks away, Pele's like, "I kind of like you," in a way. When he's
Yeah.
like,
And
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that was
what?
that was like
"That was
what-
early."
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they're still.
He's like, I'm really
in
glad you're
America.
coming of all people.
Right, but yeah, I mean, I feel like that was like kind of like friendly, maybe like.
Yeah.
Ah.
and let-
Well, we find out later what the actual intent was, but I feel like at that point you kind of
We-
depict that as.
I feel like we could take this moment to get into the main character of the movie, Danny. She has a very horrific beginning to the
Yeah.
story.
Terrible.
Literally, she got like some cryptic email from her sister, and she's emailing her sister, emailing her, calling her. Nobody's answering. She calls her parents home, and you see the parents lying in bed. And, you know, they look a little bit off. And then she keeps on calling. She calls Christian, and he's like, "Oh, you know, this is just her another ploy for attention. Like,
Right.
that's all this is. Like, you just get worked up over nothing." And, like, you know, he's almost being a good boyfriend, you think. Danny, like, calms down. She's like, "Yeah, you're right. And then it turns out that her sister carbon monoxided the entire house with her parents in it,
Right.
killing herself and her parents.
And they never really explained
They don't-
why. I don't know if it was like a
I
maybe.
think she had a disorder,
yeah,
mental
she-
disorder,
but
but
they
I don't
just
understand
very-
why they
how to
included
connect
that
it.
in the movie.
well, I think
Well, it's to start to show how incredibly low of a point Danny was at.
okay, it
how-
was.
she
Do you
was
think it
just
was
as
like
lonely as
genuinely
it could
just to
be.
show that? You
Yeah, I
think-
mean,
okay, yeah,
Like, she loses her family, and the only like, she talks to one friend at one point, but other than that, the only person she turns to is Christian, who's completely unsupportive
Right.
of her.
and it kind of makes sense
Like,
because where she ends up
she's
at the
just
end
alone.
Too. Yeah.
So they go to Sweden,
Right.
and at first it's like, it's like, oh, it's very like beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
They take I think it's a psychedelic, right?
Yes,
Mushroom
they get
tea?
Mushroom.
They immediately get there and start taking some shrooms. It's like
Really-
college spring break.
Yeah.
Really interesting, yeah. And
And wait, I'm sorry, real quick. Kid who's vaping all the time. What's his name? I forget.
Mark, is it the eyebrow kid?
Yeah, he's like in
Yeah,
a ton of movies.
Kenny from We're the Millers.
From Where the Millers, yeah. So Kenny
was-
from Where the Millers,
I refer to him solely as Kenny in my notes.
I call him eyebrows.
dude, he's such an asshat. Like I cannot, like he has to be my least
Jester.
favorite.
I love him,
person.
dude. He's the comic relief for that movie for sure.
He's the jester.
He is the jester, but I don't know, just like the way he treats Danny, dude, and it's like so like to her face of just being such an ass.
He's that friend that is just like always like just calling his best friend out for being like a simp. He's like, "Bro, you're always with your girlfriend."
He's like the
Literally.
only normal
No
one. I feel like
regard.
though.
How is
'cause
he normal?
Of the group, because like let's think, Christian is like a little irredeemable. It's like doesn't care about anyone. Doesn't care about his,
yeah,
his
Christian
girlfriend,
blows.
boyfriend.
Christian does suck.
Who's the
I-
guy doing the research paper?
I can't think
Or the
of his
thesis?
name. It wasn't Johnny, was it?
Hold up. 5. It is Josh.
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 Yeah.
I mean, he's pretty normal, but like
He's pretty. Yeah.
he's just very set on his. He's just very set on
yeah,
his in his
He's
thesis.
not there for vacation though, and I
Yeah.
think that's the whole point. Is like he invited his friends along with Pele.
But yeah, no. What I'm saying is, I
yeah.
think obviously Pele was just a creep. I thought, but I think Mark was the most relatable character, which is why I liked him because I feel like he was kind of the stand-in character where I could like put myself in his shoes.
Okay.
Because like
He was like an ignorant American outsider, I think.
yeah,
Very-
Going to
He-
a
yeah.
foreign land,
He
you know.
also made a pretty funny statement early in the movie. I can't even remember the line, but I wrote the line. Ha, no pun intended. But I wrote in my notes, "Spread Lyme disease awareness,"
because when they're
he-
walking through the grass around
Yeah.
the psychedelic, and apparently
Oh, yeah,
like,
He's like, is there
he's like,
ticks?
he's like, my uncle has Lyme disease. He's fucked.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
So
Wait, actually, yeah. No, go ahead.
no, so they go like, have a little like trip on the mushrooms,
Right.
and then they go into the
Danny freaks out a little bit.
She freaks
goes,
out.
cries alone.
prize alone.
What about when she goes into the bathroom to cry alone, and just for a second, there's that person standing behind
Yep.
her,
Yeah,
and then it immediately flips to her sprinting out of the bathroom into the woods. Like, what do you think that
Also,
was?
can we also talk about how like after their trip, and they find Danny just like laying down the grass, and she's like, "How long have I been out for?" And her boyfriend's like, "I don't know, it's been like 6 hours."
We found you 6
It's
hours
yeah, it's
ago.
the next day. It's like, what, dude? Like,
And it was her
you-
birthday
you-
too.
Yeah,
She didn't
so
care.
you
So
just
you
left her
found
out
her,
there.
and then you sat next to her for 6 hours. Like what?
And
what
she
were you
was
doing
obviously
then?
unconscious or whatever. Like, you wouldn't even check to make sure she's okay. I don't know. That whole scene just was like very strange to me.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on there.
I know we're hopping around a lot right now, but I want to bring this up too
Pretty
because I
linear.
think it's pretty interesting too. So Pele's the friend's name?
Ingmar, his
Ingmar.
brother.
Ingmar's brother. Okay. The scene where Ingmar introduces Connie and Simon to the group,
Yeah.
and they're walking around. This is before we see the tapestry with the bloody drink.
Like, hey, I brought some
Yeah,
shrooms.
But he was not like so after that. But like this is the next day, I think. But when he was like, "Yeah, me and Connie, like I took her out a date. We almost started dating," and then she's like, "No, we didn't."
Yeah.
That was like so unsettling. Like you could tell something was off. Like
Wait,
with that crew.
So Pele said
wanted-
that to her?
Ingmar did, his brother.
Ingmar
So-
introduced the
yeah.
people that he brought and said that the girl he brought was like, oh, funny, like, I met Simon, the guy that she was engaged to. Was like, I met Simon when I was on a date with Connie.
Interesting. I'm not sure. There must be something behind that.
Yeah, when I watched it around the second time, I felt like it made more sense that he chose them to bring because maybe he wanted revenge.
Yeah.
Because Simon stole his girl.
Interesting. Interesting.
And
'Cause,
so
like,
now, sorry, you go.
yeah, they were
ahead.
looking for people to. I mean, not to spoil it because you guys should have watched it.
They're
but
recruiting.
recruiting people for human sacrifice. Like, screw this
Yeah,
person. Didn't want to
basically.
date me. I'm gonna kill her.
And, like, this shit's planned out.
Yeah. So does Ingmar know he's gonna die?
I think so.
Wait, Igmar dies?
But I'm not
Ingmar
sure.
dies.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
he's in the burning temple at the end.
I'm not exactly sure what the customs are, but I think they said that if you bring flesh to die, then you also sacrifice yourself.
but that
but
doesn't
then
make sense.
Pele should
Because
have
they
been
believed in
sacrificed
sacrifice,
too.
though. They were
But I
like,
don't think
it
he
was an
was
honor.
because he brought the May Queen.
And also, I think it's because the May Queen gets to choose. I think Pele was one of the step-ins, maybe, and she chose her boyfriend instead to wear the bear outfit.
Perhaps.
Also,
I don't
what does the bear symbolize?
I'm gonna
in
go
your
back a
opinion?
little. Let's go into that a little later.
Okay.
I wanna
Yeah,
talk
we'll
about
pause.
the
We'll
linear-
put a. We'll put a.
Yeah. Go into that later.
Right there. Yeah.
So I mean, it was pretty normal. It was an interesting like colonial kind of like
Yeah.
ceremony.
When they first get there, Kenny or Mark goes, "So we're stopping in Waco before his village." Like first thing he says. That's his very first line
I missed that. But
when
the
they get
whole-
to the village.
the cult thing. And
Yeah,
By the way, Waco on Netflix. I don't know if it's on Netflix. Great show.
Amazing.
because like
Definitely watch the
Yeah.
miniseries, 6 episodes.
you
Great
get
show.
Must
you get
watch.
there and it is a really cool like little quaint village and
Yeah.
like the bum ass of Sweden.
Honestly,
and
it's
they're
a pretty
all-
good vibe.
They're
the
all
whole
wearing
time.
these wicked
Very
bright
sunny.
robes.
No real nighttime.
It's
Yeah.
like the 18-hour days in Sweden in the summer.
Well, honestly, too, like after you like view the movie, you'll totally have like a different perception of it too. And like when you're watching it, obviously things change for like the second, third time watching and stuff. But if you put yourself out of the mindset of having seen what the movie is, what's about to happen in the movie, and kind of watch it from a first-time perspective,
If you didn't know it was a horror film,
right? The whole vibe that's going on at their like village, and like especially where you knew you were going to like a remote commune type village, it's pretty cool what they got going on, and it looks very inviting and very accepting.
Mhm.
So like what goes down in the
That's-
movie isn't really anything that I would expect.
That's
It
how
just
they
seems-
get you.
Yeah,
Literally.
it just seems like a nice like old time like Nordic traditional like
Right.
thing. Like they probably like you would think that they do this little ceremony and then they go back to their normal lives and it's
Right.
like a kind of a tradition thing. But it got really weird when they had the feast and then
Which feast?
actually before that, Pele was explaining like the seasons and how ages affect the seasons.
Yep.
Also, before that, real quick, when they first get to the village and they they meet everybody, and Pele introduces them to like the guy who he hugs.
This is like dad figure,
Yeah.
father figure.
Like that guy says like hello to all of them, and then to Danny he says welcome home.
Interesting.
I noticed that too. And Loki, when you just said that, I saw a little bit of chills down my spine because I know it goes on later, and that's just like creepy, dude. But
And-
yeah, dude.
And then they walk like Simon and Connie and Ingmar walk past the bear in the cage, and Simon's like, "Are we just gonna ignore the bear?"
He's like, "What? It's a bear."
Yeah, he goes, it's a bear.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like the little details too that you pick up later, because like it is, like you said, it is literally
Yeah,
planned to a T before it even
he
happens.
sprinkles the like scary details in throughout.
It's amazingly
It just
done.
slowly builds up.
Phenomenally done. Yeah.
Yeah, talking about the little details they sprinkle in. Then talking about the different ages.
Yeah,
They go from spring represents 0 to 18,
Right.
which is where like your new life, you're beginning your
It's
life,
budding.
and then budding. Summer is like, I got merging. I don't even know what that.
18 to 36.
18 to 36.
Could be
Well,
sprouting into like your
sprouting
like the
into
tree,
yourself.
Like,
That's
know,
when
the
you
full
go out
form.
into the real world and
Yeah.
36
recruit the
to
human
recruit people to
sacrifice.
die.
36 to 54. I did pretty good at math, adding 18 every time.
Yeah.
They just like they're working
Yeah,
the
right.
fall. I don't know how the
Labor-
fall relates to working,
laborers.
but whatever.
Right.
And then summer.
We gotta
You
work
gotta,
for winter.
you gotta harvest in the
Yeah.
fall.
Prepare for winter. Oh yeah, harvest in the fall.
50.
Yeah, simple as that.
That's true. That's true.
Come on,
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
Come on now.
54 to
I took
72.
soils.
Wisdom. And then they ask, "Oh, Pele, what's after 72?" And he goes, and like puts his fingers on his neck, and he goes like the slashing of a throat
you
symbol.
love it.
And they go, haha, really funny, Pele. And the next scene, this is what I want to get into. They're having like a normal feast and just enjoying themselves. And they bring out these two old people and they're enjoying their time. And they brought up Astifer, I think it's called. No. Antistupa,
Antistupa? What is
Okay.
this?
which is like the thing they called in Nordic tradition where old people are either thrown off cliffs or throw themselves off cliff for human sacrifice. So it might be. I think it's a real thing. It's
so
a real
it's-
thing.
So
It's a real
probably is a
tradition.
real thing, and it's funny.
It's probably
too.
Yeah,
ancient.
it's
Probably some Viking
Well,
tradition.
I bet a lot it's based on true stuff.
Yeah.
This guy seems to do his research.
It's funny too that you say because with Hereditary, if we go back to that, it's about Payman.
Yeah, that's some
and
real
he's
shit.
in like a lot of the
Not
little
go too
details.
into that much,
No, I know,
yeah.
but a lot of the details in that movie too, like relate to a lot of what Payman's about. So the director really does do his homework on not only the region that the movies are taking place in, but also like the culture behind that too, which I think is really
Yeah.
awesome. You really do get like little historical tidbits.
Speaking of culture, there's another part. I think it's the first night they're there when they're all kind of like just sitting in the room or whatever, and one like Swedish girl walks over and she's like to Pelly and like the American friends. She's like, she says something in Swedish and then she's like, "We're going to watch Austin Powers. Do you guys want to come?"
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's like a youth
It's
group
like-
vibe. It was like kind of
Yeah,
we're having a little ceremony, bro. Let's
honestly.
have some fun.
Like, yeah, we're gonna.
Right.
And then the next day,
we got pizza.
they bring out the two old people, and then they go to the cliff. They're all nervous. They drink their last shot, and then they go to the cliff, and then the people from the United States just looking on.
Also, wait, before we get to that, how messed up is it that Pele goes to Josh while they're sleeping in the commune bed area that night and explains what's about to happen the next day, and Danny, Mark, and Christian are all like, "What? What is he talking about? Like, what's he saying?" And he's like, "Oh, like I can't spoil it. I
Well-
can't spoil it." I'm sorry. I don't care if you're doing research or whatever.
Did he actually tell Josh what it was, or was Josh?
Josh
just
knew.
acting
So he
smug?
says the word in Swedish, I think.
Antistupa.
And he's like, "Oh, like he's like, really? Like it's gonna happen, really?" And he's excited for it. And then Danny and all them like, "What? What's about to happen?" And like doesn't say anything. He's like, "You just gotta
That's
wait. You
whack.
just gotta
I'm
experience."
sure
it.
at that point he probably thought that it was just gonna be some symbolization of that.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, like
Yeah.
because
you don't expect
it
to
went.
see
So the old people go to the
sacrifice
cliff,
in person.
and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden the old guy just jumps off the cliff, and it went 0 to 100 real quick.
The old woman goes first.
Yeah, true. The old woman
she-
goes first.
She
Yeah,
went the
what-
right way.
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
I had to
dude.
do it, that's how you go down.
Do you remember the shot when Danny's looking up at them?
And they make
and
direct eye
she looks at her-
contact,
and
yo.
she looks at the old woman, and it's just her face over the cliff. And I swear to God, that woman looked so much like Danny.
Yes.
Ooh.
And I think that's
'Cause-
Steve. I think that's why they make direct eye contact. 'Cause I think it symbolizes
The
like,
whole
the whole
time
circle of
They
life.
treat her like family. It's like she was meant to be a part of it.
Yeah. And it's really interesting too because we discovered too that Pele comes from a broken home too, and I'm guessing most of the people in that commune maybe did as well, which is really
Wait.
interesting.
Didn't he say my parents died in a fire?
Yeah.
What if they were sacrifices?
Mm.
Probably not.
Oh,
but
no!
imagine-
Imagine if because my parents died in fire.
He- I
Everyone
feel
goes
like
up
he-
at
he
the
would-
end.
Yeah, because the fire at the end. Yeah.
Like it makes sense, but at the same time, if he was truly like indoctrinated, he wouldn't think that was a horrible thing.
Right.
Also, kind of going off the theme of like you join a cult for family, like Waco, everyone in that cult joined there because they need a family,
Yeah.
Right.
and so it kind of keeps the theme with cults, and yeah,
It's really interesting too because if we go to Waco, I'm talking about my experience from seeing the Netflix documentary miniseries, not
From
documentary.
being in the Waco.
From
cult.
being a part of it and escaping.
I
People
was
don't know
there.
about this, but I was there. No, But it's interesting too the way they depict the individuals in Waco, because I don't know if you guys agree, but while watching that miniseries, they don't really seem like they're bad people, and like everyone,
not at all.
like yeah, they did bad things, like they did illegal things, but it seems like all the surrounding people escalated the situation. Maybe, and even in this situation, we have Kevin, right? Or oh, you got me saying that now, Mark.
I call him Kevin.
No one
Steve
called
did.
him
Oh,
Kevin.
Wait, what would you say?
Kenny.
Kenny. Fuck. All right, but yeah, you have Mark, and you have that moment where like he pees on like the sacrificial tree or the
Dude gets pissed.
the ancestral tree. That's what it's called.
Yeah, that was
Where
wild.
they-
And I guess it can
Did
just
you
show
see-
like
I'm just taking a piss.
Okay,
yeah.
I want their oven for cremation that they use to like burn the bodies. Also, like, dude, when they showed the mashed in heads, like,
Oh
can
my,
you guys
yeah.
look at that? Because I struggle. I looked
I
at
thought
it
it was
this
pretty
time.
cool. I
but
liked it.
It
I
is like
cringed a
it's
bit.
wicked cool, but sometimes I'm just like I'm closing my eyes.
It was I mean,
I
especially
feel
when
like
you
a
know,
lot of
yeah.
movies they kind of hide that. And
Yeah, I
I'm like,
loved how
I
open it
respected
was.
Ari
That was
Aster's
sick.
artistic choice to be like very, very
Raw
like
with it.
gruesome.
Like they're
Yeah,
just
yeah.
they're like like everybody's watching just this mashed in
Yeah.
skull.
And don't they
Just
cook
go
all their
on.
meals off that too?
I don't know.
I'm pretty
But-
sure they do.
But the
I'm pretty
oven
sure
was
they
sick,
do.
and they like pull the thing out with the ashes,
What were you
and
saying?
then
Yeah.
they dumped the ashes into the roots of the fallen tree.
Right.
That's what made it like it was the tree of their ancestors.
Were you saying something before?
He was talking about the ancestral
Yeah, I was just
tree
talking about
Okay.
the ancestral tree. Yeah,
Interesting.
when Kenny pisses on it.
but Kenny pisses on it. Yeah, but I don't know. That was the one thing that like about like him. This is why he's my least favorite character, is because I get it. He's there for comedic relief, and I probably wouldn't understand that was like a real like a ancestral tree or a spiritual tree either. But he's just like so like obliviously ignorant and like
Yeah.
I think obviously do it on purpose. I think,
The classic
but
American.
he's just like so ignorant it hurts. You know.
Yeah, I liked him. I thought he was funny. So after they jump off the cliff, Mark goes like, "Oh man, the one time you didn't get me, I was taking a nap. Why didn't
Yeah.
you get me?" Like
Yeah.
that was funny. I'm like, I just like these like little lines.
Fair.
I just have an interesting question. If you were there and you were experiencing this culture as an outsider, would you completely shut it down? Like, well, this is horrible. What are you guys doing? Or would you like kind of respect their culture? Because I mean, they are consenting to it. They're 72. Let me finish. They're 72-year-old people. They're consenting to it, and it's like they brought up a good point. Like, it's more. Is it more ethical to them just to go on their own terms, or to like be in a
Assisted living.
assisted
or
living
something.
home till like they're 95, their family doesn't see
I
them
think
anymore?
it's Christian who makes that point. He's like, they probably
Yeah.
look at us putting our old people in senior homes as disgusting.
Yeah, so like I don't. What's your thought on that?
I don't know. I mean, that's tough because
If I witnessed it and they didn't tell me what was about to happen, I would.
I'd be.
I
I'd
would
leave.
not be
I would
about
leave
it.
right then.
Yeah.
But
I
would
think
you?
that
Would you
that's,
think
like-
they're like bad people, barbaric people, or we just kind of respect their?
I wouldn't necessarily understand it.
Yeah, personally
yeah.
horrified, but wider perspective,
I think it'd
wouldn't
be
think
pretty
that they were
inconsiderate
like.
too for them not to explain what was about to happen to outsiders
Okay.
too.
But
I
I-
think like you'd have to, like, especially if they
Yeah.
know that they're outsiders and they
Yeah.
don't explain. That's
I
pretty
don't-
inconsiderate.
I don't
you
think
know?
that it's like that evil of a practice though
Yeah.
for old people.
bizarre
To,
for
No.
us.
It's
Like,
definitely
taboo.
bizarre.
yeah.
But I'm sure,
Yeah.
I'm sure, maybe not now, but throughout history, there's been many.
Oh my God.
many
It's a
sacrifices.
What is it?
Aztecs.
Crucifying on the cross.
I don't know. That was
like-
more of a punishment, I think. But the Aztecs.
Well, the
that was also a punishment too.
Yeah.
Kinda. But
It was mostly slaves and
what
prisoners.
were
They
the
did
ones
that
in
too.
the Andes? Those Incas. No,
The Incas.
They burned people, right? Or the Mayans?
I don't know. I'm not
Well,
sure.
it's just weird how much sacrifice there was.
Yeah.
Do you
Well, it's all
think?
spiritual. I
Yeah,
mean, it
you
all
got-
connects
you
to, like,
got
the
pay
deeper
in blood.
spiritualness.
Do you think that sacrifice throughout time was kind of a justification of like just killing like the bad people? Like they had bad people they could put in prison that would cost like cost them money, or they could just kill them like, oh, it's for God,
I don't think so.
and they believe that maybe.
I think honestly, my take on sacrifice, human sacrifice, I think it
I think
started
it's good.
off. It's good. I think it's
Bring it
amazing.
back.
No, I think it started off in every sense of the word as a sacrifice. Because I think when you think of like the start of civilizations, you really needed every person to be like put their input to put their foot forward
Yeah.
to boost the culture forward. Boost the society forward.
Some people just had to die for the culture.
But so I think that's what it is. So I think obviously, and still now we have spiritualness where you pray to a higher being, And there's practices in different religions where they sacrifice still, but it's animal sacrifice. It's different. But I think that all stems from the fact of you're taking something that's very, very like crucial to one's survival as a whole, as a community of social beings, and you're saying, I'm putting my higher power above that. So it is in every sense a sacrifice. You're taking away from the resources to build your civilization up in hopes that your God will look favorably upon you, I think.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know if I worded that
you
like
need those
That
able
makes sense.
bodies to like improve your society, but
Right.
you're like, listen, like, I'll give this up if you guys
if you bless us.
up here,
'Cause-
help us out.
Right.
Back then, they probably had no idea. I mean, we still have no idea what's going on, like what
Yeah,
life is.
Right.
But back then, they had no science or anything. So maybe they thought, like, we rely on God, and like they probably superstitiously looked at it as like, all right, we killed Bob last week, so and it rained,
Yeah.
so we'll kill Stacy this week or something.
Right. I
Really
think,
messed up.
honestly,
So maybe it wasn't. So you think it was
Trial and error sometimes.
Yeah.
yeah. So you think it was
You
more?
gotta kill the right people.
Yeah, that was really interesting though.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it genuinely. I think it has every sense to do with the word. I think it literally stems from what it is. You know, the word.
Sacrificing for more.
Yeah, you're creating a
feel that,
personal
yeah.
sacrifice for hopefully the gain in the future
yeah.
of your group.
Like sacrificing an animal, you could have eaten that.
Exactly.
I'm so
You're taking away food from yourself in hopes that the God that you're praying to will bless your area with rainfall for the whole year. You don't have to worry about like devastation, whether it be a supernatural, whether it be like storms or weather or like
yeah.
other stuff.
I'm
Are
just
we
so,
having a sacrifice tonight?
I think we might.
nah,
have.
I'm just so happy that I live in 2020 and not 2000. I mean, I live in 2021 and not 2021
Sweden in
BC.
2019.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, it'd be kind of spooky if, like, right now I guess you worry about, like, I gotta pass my classes, I gotta, make sure I do good at my job. But back then it was, I hope I don't lose this, like, this
The
archaic
lottery
game of
system,
soccer,
yeah.
or I'm gonna be sacrificed by the Aztec priests.
If someone's gonna flay me open but leave my lungs breathing so I'm
Oh
alive.
my gosh! Yeah, that scene is so unsettling.
Wait,
when you,
what
like,
it-
Wait, what's you
What
talking
is
about?
that called again?
What scene?
oh, it's called the something cross, right? Or angel? No, it's like it's wings, right?
It's got a name.
It's got a name for sure. This
Oh,
is when,
Simon, right?
Simon.
Yeah.
Simon's in the
Simon's
he's in
fate.
the chicken coop.
Dude, they
Yeah.
were just letting the roosters like play with him too. Come on, man.
How
Treat-
didn't we
treat him
notice
with-
too?
Treat the bloke with some respect.
Did you notice how they had like the hand sticking out of the ground too?
Yeah,
later
it was
on?
a foot.
How did we notice
was
that?
gonna
The whole, or how didn't they notice that? Because I don't think
Well,
they
at
showed
that point, Christian was butt ass naked
Yeah,
having in the middle of a bad trip.
bad.
Post nut clarity was at an all time high, but he was not observing his surroundings.
He just like looks so uncomfortable, and it makes me feel so uncomfortable watching him on screen. He's just like his face is
By the way, Christian needs to wear like less loose shirts. You guys notice that?
yeah, the
He's wearing those
the
V-necks a
deep
lot, right?
V's.
Yeah.
Like it was like I feel like he overwashed his shirts a little bit. He needs some like tie it or something.
You
We're
think-
just pulling on him.
You think there is
Maybe
any
a little nervous tying,
Yeah.
pulling.
Do you think there is any symbolism in his name being Christian, in the fact that it was like a not paganistic but different gods cult, and they definitely looked upon him as like the least. The beast actually.
So I don't know how to answer that because I don't know how I feel. Like I don't have a necessarily a well-crafted answer to that. But I will
Bet. I
follow.
was just throwing that out.
No, but I will follow that up by asking you because you do
Okay.
bring up a great point by saying that. I want to see if you can maybe answer your own question and then answer this as well.
Okay.
With them, because I totally agree, he is looked upon as the least favored out of the group. He's like the most impure. I feel like.
Yeah.
Why would they let the redheaded girl sleep with him and like carry his child? They're a compatible match. Like as the least favorable person, you can tell like he's bad. They know he's bad. And that scene they always gets me is when he's like having a really bad trip. He's like, "What's going on?" And the guy's like, "Shh." Like,
And he claps.
yeah, he claps. He just
And
claps
he
in
just
his
goes
face.
into it.
But like
He
you know what I
just
mean? Like they
go-
treat him like literally like dirt, like nothing. And like for them to like let one of their own carry his kid.
I know.
Because
May-
wouldn't that
and
kid just be like impure too? Then at the point?
Maybe they knew that Danny and Christian were like very tight, and she
But
was.
they weren't really.
Well, I mean,
They're,
they were.
yeah,
but they were dating. All right,
It was
so
a terrible
Christian was.
relationship. They knew that it was falling apart. I think.
Christian
Yeah.
was her last like
line to anything.
Last line to the reality
Like
world.
I said, she
Right.
was alone.
So maybe if they kind of incriminated Christian, then Danny would have nowhere else to go,
Because she does.
and then
see it.
she'd sacrifice Christian, and then she'd have to stay, and like they got
Yeah.
their queen.
You know what's
I-
weird too?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. You want to help
No,
me?
go ahead. I got
Okay.
a point.
So I think it's just really weird too, is because to what Andrew was saying, with that reasoning too, they're sacrificing also members of their community that don't necessarily die in a sacrificial way. Like the redheaded girl, they're sacrificing her as being like, all right, you're just gonna carry his kid because you're serving the purpose of separating Danny and Christian even further. You know?
That's just a theory, though. I'm not sure if that's actually.
No,
They
but
al-
I'm just
they
saying
also-
based
Yeah,
on
yeah.
that theory. It's
They
pretty
also
interesting.
needed to bring outside people in to
Continue
like
the
carry
bloodline.
on, preserve the bloodlines, but not be incest.
Right? Except for the oracles.
Except for the Oracle, those are deliberately inbred,
Right.
quote unquote. But what I was about to say, how Andrew was saying, like they with Danny, like they understand that Christian is like her last line to the world. Otherwise, she's completely alone, and that's like I watched this video on YouTube by Acolytes of Horror. You guys should check it out, talking about Midsommar, and he talks about how the cult, like in Harga, like they use like classic cult techniques to draw you in. Like they're really nice. They treat you like family, and also they target people who are alone
Okay. Yeah.
because those people are the most vulnerable, and they're the most likely to, like, when they get that emotional like support, they just like cling on to it.
I can totally
and then
see that.
by the end, like on top of all the shrooms, they've just completely disconnected her from the real world, from society, from like her own reality, because she's just like tripping balls,
It's
and
so true.
she's
It's
so
true.
unhinged.
They're like
and, like-
psychologically changing her, like with the drugs too. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, so like they just completely disillusion her, and that's how they like fully indoctrinate her. I think it's crazy by the end, and they kind of get you in on the movie.
Oh my
like,
gosh,
the director
yeah.
gets you into the.
I won't lie. Well, watching it my first time, especially like genuinely. So the whole time watching it until I first saw the first like bad part happen, like not even the two old people hopping off the cliff.
when Josh sneaks into the
So
look at the
no,
book.
so yes. So until I saw Josh sneak in to see the book, and then
Dude, I was watching that scene and I was like, they just had to kill the black guy first.
yeah,
Like,
they continue with
horror
every horror
movie.
horror
But
movie
then
stereotype.
It does turn out they actually killed two people before
Well, they killed Mark
killed
first.
him. They killed Mark and Simon.
But
'cause
so
he
okay.
goes missing already. But,
So,
yeah.
I think it's just like so before, and also like really messed up because the girl that Mark thinks he's gonna go sleep with ends up wearing his face.
that
to
was
kill,
her.
I think so, to kill Josh. Because he's like, "What are
Wait.
you doing in here, dude?" And like
Wait.
clearly,
Yeah.
I was wondering, so whose face was that? Because I thought
That
it was
that
like
was Mark's face on one of them. I don't know if it was a girl necessarily, but it was Mark's face on one of the girls.
Did you think it was the
Wait,
Oracle?
how'd they take his face though?
They
Oh,
she-
like
they-
Mark's-
Because Mark went out with the girl to like
okay, I
sleep
thought it
with
was-
her, but yeah.
It looked like Christian a little bit, but it was Mark.
It was Mark,
Interesting.
yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I
Um,
was wondering. I thought it was like maybe a inbred because the face looked weird. I'm like maybe, but I don't know.
no, it was definitely like a mask face.
Interesting.
Yeah.
not,
Interesting.
not Ruby.
Yeah, but so I just think it's really interesting. So up until that scene, I genuinely, my first time viewing this movie, thought that there was gonna be like some other influence, supernatural influence, that was supposed to be the scary part of this movie.
Mm.
I genuinely did not think it had anything to do with the people in the cult. I thought it might have had to do with something that they were praying to that would have like came out at night or something. I think
Yeah.
that's the most like fantastic thing about the movie too, is like how they do that and how it's like it's them that
It's
is like the
real
scary
shit.
thing, and like you don't see that at first necessarily, which I think is so cool.
What one of the things I really like about this movie is it's just so unsettling.
Yeah.
Yesterday, our friend Annie said we were talking about it. Me, her, and Aiden, and she said after watching that movie, she was like, "I just feel like that's something I shouldn't have seen."
Oh, 100%. It's like not. I mean, kind of. It is
It's
kind of like
just
scarring
this
in a way.
deep,
Like
dark,
Yeah.
like folklore that
Yeah.
honestly like might even exist out
it's
there,
too real.
but you know
Yeah.
would never get to the
Also,
outside
like,
world.
He
Mhm.
like the
It's true.
director went like super far in every aspect, like the sex scene with
Oh,
Christian
God.
and
That's
the
so
ginger girl.
uncomfortable. That was
They had,
so
like-
the old woman gets
uncomfortable.
behind him.
Yeah,
and
starts
starts
pushing him in.
shoving him.
It was
yeah.
really just bizarre. They're chanting.
I hope that's not something that actually happens. If that's a real thing.
Oh, I hope not. But my biggest takeaway from this
Bless you.
movie was
Thank
not that it was. I didn't think it was a scary movie. I thought it was very interesting.
Yeah,
But
I
it-
don't think it's scary either
yeah.
necessarily.
it's
I
wicked
thought
scary.
I thought this movie really just made me.
It's
I
like
kind
a
of
suspense movie in a
yeah.
way. A
I
thriller.
mentioned this like mentioned this earlier, but it really just made me appreciate just like normal life and just like not because that really like that like kind of taboo like cultures cult kind of life.
Right.
Yeah, some people are born into that shit.
I'm just really glad I'm in like a normal.
I think it's so true,
World.
like what Steve just said too. It's like it probably does exist somewhere out there, and it's one of
Yeah,
those things that
for
because
sure.
it probably does, we definitely will never know about it because those are like things that go on. If that is real, like they keep it so under wraps, you know.
A lot of crazy stuff in the
yeah.
world, but I feel like this movie really just went beyond.
Yeah. Andrew, what time are we at?
We're at 36 minutes.
That's
Bad,
not bad.
Shall we get to the day where things really start to escalate?
Yeah.
The May dance.
Yes. Yeah. Let's do it.
The best day of the festival.
Honestly,
Save
yeah.
the bestest for the restest or something like that. I don't even know. What I forget what it even that day starts with so that's the night before Josh and Mark get killed. And
Right.
they find Josh trying to take the pictures of the sacred text.
Also, before we go into that, real quick,
Yeah.
keep your thought, please.
Yeah, no, go.
Christian goes up to Josh and goes, "By the way, I'm just gonna do my thesis on the same thing you did."
Oh,
That was
yeah.
the most absurd
Yeah.
thing.
He's such
Yeah.
an
He
asshole.
really
it
just
is.
threw him on the ground. Like he threw the character so irredeemable, and then
Who would think that would be okay?
literally not okay at
Hey
all.
man, I know you dedicated your life to this and you brought
Yeah.
us here out of a
And
courtesy,
I hope this
but
is
I'm
the
also gonna
point.
do it too.
I don't think this is his point, but when they talk to the old man, the elder talks to Christian and Danny.
Yes, the morning after.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Is you talking about?
Yeah, no,
They go
say
into- Yeah, they go. Yeah, Christian goes, "By the way, we had nothing to do with Josh. Like we weren't even friends with him or whatever. Like
it. we
anything he
completely
did is all his fault. It's
unassociated.
not our fault. Just I want you to know that. Like absurd.
Yeah, I think that's crazy.
I'm like this guy. Yeah, I feel like Ari Aster could have went a little more characterization of this guy and
Made
made
him
him
a little
a
more
little more
nuanced.
redeemable because I didn't care
He
at all.
doesn't. He doesn't have a lot of depth, honestly, Christian. I
He
would
really
say.
did because I didn't care about when he died. He just-
Right.
But I want you still have your thought. Hopefully.
Yeah, no, I
Alright,
was
good.
just moving along, but that's how the day starts. Where
Yeah.
with the thing about the stuff getting stolen.
That's like the
And
last day, right?
Yeah, and that's
That's
how
crazy
that's
how
how
long-
they cover
yeah.
up Josh and Mark going missing.
Right.
They were like, well, I know it could just be a coincidence, but the thing goes missing and them the same day. Like,
Right.
So that happens, and then, they're like, all right, so Christian, we'll talk to you in this house. Danny, you're gonna go with the woman, and then shroom tea, dancing, fun,
Well, also,
flowers.
I guess like we can add to just Christian's like shitty personality traits here too. He was like low key thinking about smashing the redheaded girl the whole time.
Oh, he was
like-
already on about it.
Yeah, like
And
you know what I mean. Like
Pelly was pushing it too. He told him, he was like, "Yeah, she had her
yeah,
last year." He was like, "What's that?" He's like, "Well, basically it means she's ready to have sex."
But yeah, I mean, I don't know, dude. Such a bad
Like,
person.
thanks, dude. Let me bang your 16-year-old sister.
Yeah, it's also so sus how that goes down, dude. They literally drug the man up. All right, but let's continue. Let's start because we're gonna get into that later. But let's start. So, Danny gets taken with the girls and they're baking, right?
Oh, we completely skipped over that dinner.
Oh,
should
that's
t-
okay.
let's-
That's way before.
Let's-
I'm sorry.
Let's talk.
I'm sorry.
No, let's talk about that dinner. Or wait, is
No,
yeah,
that's
no,
not
that's
the-
before. That's because that's when all of them are still alive,
Right.
and they're at the dinner.
and that's
he
when
eats
she bakes
pu-
the pubic
the
hair.
pube
like,
pie.
yeah, the pube pie.
That's what you were talking about earlier, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where they like literally, it's so like it's wild too because I didn't pick it up the first time watching it. They literally show like a girl picking like one of her pubes and putting it into the pie.
Yeah, and the paintings.
Yeah, and the period blood too into the drink in the paintings. And like I didn't notice that on the painting at first, but definitely as you watch it, like if you look at the quilt, you literally see what's about to go down.
Yeah.
And it goes to what you were saying at the
The
beginning
whole-
of the movie, where they literally show the entire movie
They
right at the
always
start.
they always show what happens. What on the Mayfest dance, day when they tell Christian to go talk to the lady and he has to like interview for mating basically.
Yeah.
He's sitting in the chair and he's looking directly at the wall and right there in front of him is a bear engulfed in flames.
Yep.
It's like, oh.
There's another little foreshadowing.
But no, Mark too, when he eats the pie, Christian's like, it's a hair or something. And Mark's like, that's a pube. That's a pubic hair.
That's a
How does he
pubic hair.
know? How does he know?
That's awesome. Yeah. Okay, so let's go to, if you guys don't mind skipping to this part, if we can touch on to the actual. So once they're shroomed up, and then we start the May dance.
Yes, let's get to it.
The
main event.
The main event, if you will. I want to get you guys' opinions on that. So do you guys think that the girls in that ceremony lost on purpose, or do you think that she genuinely just won? Because it seems like everything is so planned down to a T. And so it makes me think or wonder, at least. I wonder if, like, they made it seem like they were trying, but, like, you know?
They definitely could have done that. I like how, like, Danny, like, bodies a few people at certain points. I just laughed. I was like, gotta lay a few bodies on the grass to be the May Queen. Come on now.
I also have to say, just, like, adding on to the detail of the movie, each time that they're, like, on these shroom trips, it's so cool to see the cinematography of the movie, where, and they do it in different points during the other trips, but I want to bring out the point where, and this is a little further, but when she's sitting in the chair, and you see the flowers on her dress and on their headpiece, like literally breathing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is so cool.
Well, another part with the visuals that she has on the shrooms is, when like in the beginning when they first get there and she has the grass growing through her hands.
Yeah, I just think it's really neat, like the little
and then
touches
also
they do.
it's growing through her feet while she's sitting in the or maybe when she's dancing.
Yeah.
That was cool.
I think it's just like really great use of cinematography because honestly, like if you look at other movies too, where they try to add like psychedelic effects into movies, I feel like they come off as like it's just like
it's almost as if they're using a filter on
they're
Instagram.
using like a filter or something. It's just like
you went the extra mile on this one to make it seem like as you know what might actually
something
be.
that might happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
It's not just like ooh.
Yeah, it's not like weird music, cue weird music, and like you know. But yeah, I think that was really cool. A good touch for sure on their filming aspect. But yeah.
So then, Danny eventually wins the May dance.
Right.
The May dance competition. After she drops a couple more bodies, like I said, to get to the top,
You gotta
put a few bodies in the grass.
Down. Yeah.
Okay, but so then after she wins, everybody is so excited for her. Everyone, and before when it's just her and the last two other girls, she looks over and everyone's got their hands up in the air cheering them on.
Yep.
And the only person who's just sitting there is Christian,
Who's on the terrible trip.
She looks over and she gets sad. And it's like,
well, that's
again,
like the
she's
little
all
flip.
alone, but the whole cult is like here to support her.
Because I
And
noticed
she's starting
that too.
to feel that family. And then she finally wins, and then everybody's hugging her. And as she's walking through, did you guys notice the part where her parents and her sister walk right in front of her in the robes?
I think so, yeah.
And she goes, Dad? Terry?
I did not notice that.
Yeah.
In all my viewings, I have not noticed that.
They must have. They must have.
So do you think it was like the parents never actually died and the sister was like all part of this cult and it was all planned? Or was it a shroom hallucination?
I think she was hallucinating.
I think so too.
But also,
at this point, she was.
Now I'm gonna have to like re-watch this movie again. This is towards the end of the movie. This happened.
Yeah, when she just won the thing.
When she just won it, yeah.
How have I not noticed it? That is absurd. That is crazy. That's a cool little touch they do there. For sure.
They definitely must have planned her winning because, like, they brought the only guy that was there. I'm pretty sure only like there's a few guys there maybe, but you know Christian was one of the only guys there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And they had him on a drug, so they kind of had him like maybe sedated a little bit, so he wouldn't like even notice her winning. So I feel like they're kind of just like, trying to show
he was fucked up at that point.
They were just trying to show her that like, all right, screw this guy, we're gonna sacrifice him when you win this thing.
Yeah.
I think they were setting that whole thing up.
And Pell makes out with her.
Yeah.
Like 2 seconds
What a
after she
creep.
sees her parents.
What a creep.
I don't know, like, so when she does notice Christian, you already commented on it too, but her mood like 100% changes. It's interesting because from that point on,
her face almost shifts.
yeah, her face does shift, and it's weird because
And
from
that's
that point
with,
on,
like the shrooms and visuals, like everything's kind of shifting
right.
at this point.
But I don't know, it's just weird because she doesn't seem happy anymore. Like she's like there, and like she has like these like little like chuckles and laughter, but like even at the end when like it's like the final scenes and like she's like staring off. Like she does not seem like she's thrilled to be a part of it anymore. She's like kind of like stern, you know, which is
Yeah,
weird. You'd expect her to be like happy that she found a new family, and maybe she is, but I don't know. It's just really interesting to me how like from that point on in the movie, she has like straight face. She's like very serious.
She has a straight face at that point, and then at the end she smiles. So maybe that was her kind of like remembering the good old days of like her old life, and then she kind of comes into life with her new life.
Could be her like snapping too.
Yeah.
When she was not smiling is when she goes after they take her on the wagon ride.
Yeah.
And she hears the moaning coming
Rock
from the
me,
house.
mama on the wagon.
And she and she goes over and sees what happens, and she vomits and she starts crying. And then all the girls like gather around her, and they're all like shaking with her,
they're, like, one
and, like
they're
screaming,
an organism.
crying. And that's the other like the choreography and like that shit was so impressive.
Right.
But like,
and it was done so well too, because like that could easily have been a scene where it totally could have a different take, where it could have just been like uncomfortable and weird, and like been like, why do they do that? And it's cool that like the way that it was directed, it looked like it was supposed to be there. It was natural. It was like it was a cool addition to that, like where she is a part of this cult, you know, and it's all the girls accepting her as the May Queen, and they're like, we are a part of her. She's a part of
finally
us.
has a family. Yeah, no, exactly. They're in it
They're
together.
all one, which I think is cool.
That was kind of
like when the old guy,
lining.
like when the old guy jumps off the cliff and his legs are all broken and they're all screaming.
Yeah, they're all
with
screaming.
him.
And which is cool too, because it brings up to your point where the woman falls off, and you say it looks just like her. It shows that like even though they're dead, I feel like this like, and that's probably why they know Danny is coming or going to be the May Queen, because I feel like it's all just a repetitive cycle, you know.
You know how else it was? They definitely had it planned like so far in ahead.
Mm-hmm.
When Christian's talking to the older lady before he like mates, he's like, "Are you sure?" And she's like, "Yes, of course. You guys are perfect astrological matches."
Yep.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Exactly. I wonder. So
wait, sorry.
Yeah.
More on the the mating scene. One, I love how like at a random part in it, while he's like balls deep, they just they just pan over to Ruben, and he's like, "Let me get some of my cousin's titties."
Yep.
He's like, "What? Why aren't you sharing, man? Come on." And
That is
then
hysterical.
And then what if like Christian just when he was almost done just like pulled out
Okay, I can't do
Walked
this.
away.
and just like nutted on her face or something, and everyone was just like, "What?" They'd probably kill him.
Oh, they
Yeah.
probably. I mean, they did anyways, but it probably would have been.
That whole like the whole setup would be for nothing. He just walks away, runs into the woods, runs home.
Honestly, I think it would be really cool, and they probably won't. It's like not the point of the movie at all, but it'd be cool now if they did like a sequel to Midsommar, where it was Danny as the May Queen, like just living there, and Christian's kid with the redheaded girl, and they show like the progression of what happens there.
God.
It'd be kind of neat.
And they bring in a new crop.
I mean, yeah. I don't know. I just like it is so strange because like I feel like she found her family, but I feel like Danny like. I don't know. Maybe I missed it. Maybe she is at peace, but it doesn't seem like she's really at peace at the end.
Low key,
Yeah, I don't think so either.
this movie, it was kind of just a giant. This kind of looking at it in a comical way, but this kind of whole movie was a big feminist statement. Like he treated her like shit. He cheats on her. I'm gonna kill you. And I'm gonna be happy, like girl power kind of thing. She smiles at the end, all happy.
And that's how like so many critics like took it, and all the rave reviews were like that.
Is that actually what it was?
Well, that's what like so many people were saying, but
Feminist like power.
I don't
That's
think it was
interesting.
supposed to
but
be
that
like that.
yeah,
though.
no, that
That was way
YouTube-
more deep than that. I
That
think.
video by Acolytes of a Horror that I was watching was like, yeah, there's that, but at the same time, it's really not that, because it was more like she was just so fully they got her so well into the cult at the end that like she didn't even know
Right. Yeah.
what was
Yeah,
like.
it must have been an
right or
allegory
good.
to how people get like sucked into.
Yeah, no, and that's like the
Yeah.
point of
Honestly,
it.
I think
The
it's just 'cause
movie,
it was,
it's like
Yeah.
the people of Harga use the cult tactics, and Ari Aster in directing the movie uses cult tactics to get the viewer.
Also, kind
while
of
you're watching Danny get got by the cult.
kind
Yeah.
of similar to how like there's like even like in politics in America, like if you are kind of a lonely person and like you have no family, like you're gonna get sucked into like these political
Oh yeah.
like these political extremist groups.
Yeah.
Same way as like people get sucked in like ISIS and stuff. 'Cause
Yeah.
they have same idea. I feel like because they have no family, very vulnerable, and like these cults and these organizations prey on these people who are just
Right.
weak.
We're like, hey, yeah, we need you. We
Yeah.
want you.
Yeah, and like they suck
Come
them
here.
I feel like they
come
have a
over here.
home or a place that they belong finally.
Yeah, you
and that's when
belong
they get
here.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like a lot of bad stuff happens. 'Cause they can take advantage
we're
of you at
just
that
like
point.
you. Pelly the whole time being like, Danny, like I lost my parents too.
Right.
You know, we're just like you. Come
He was
on.
also like very pushy. I'm surprised that like she was like
Yeah.
with that because like he was like low key forcing it. Like I don't know. Like he like made so many hints that he liked her throughout the movie, and like she was like clearly had a boyfriend, and then for her to just like make out with him at that scene. I mean, she is on shrooms at that point, I guess, so she's not really like thinking like maybe clear headed. But I don't know. I think that was just an interesting, maybe like somewhat forced relationship in the movie.
Yeah.
I could have seen them just
Yeah.
being like friends. I didn't need to like take it to that
You know,
level, I guess.
I thought one thing I watched this movie is same thing with the other movie we watched, Hereditary. Ari Aster's really bad at setting up organic relationships. All his relationships seem
Yes.
very just like not real.
They're like forced on. Like he just like pushes these
Like,
two people into like
in
that
reality,
scenario.
that group of friends, I don't think they'd be friends. Like they were so different from each other. I thought.
Also,
a-
yeah,
it
they
was a
like
poorly
there's like
made
no
friend
mutual
group.
respect amongst the group. I feel
Yeah,
like.
none at all.
Yeah.
None whatsoever. Pele disrespects Christian by taking his girl.
Right.
Christian disrespects everyone by bringing the friend to the group to
Yeah.
their little thing. Yeah, Christian disrespects Josh. Does Josh
Honestly, Josh is like the only one
Yeah,
that's like
but
kind of like
he's too
neutral.
He's
Well,
too proud of his
same with
shit.
Mark.
Yeah.
What did Mark do wrong though?
Mark's just an
Mark-
ass.
yeah, Mark's
yeah,
just
he's
an
just a sarcastic
ass.
but just a weird group of friends.
You know what? I
and-
will give you this point though. Mark is the only one that's just like genuine about who he is.
Yeah.
You know exactly who he is from the start.
He's not fake.
He's not fake at
yeah.
all. Yeah.
He's just an ass.
So moral of the story is like you still will die, but at least you can take the fact that he was a real person to the end.
Yeah, one thing I thought, real quick, I'm not sure. I kind of show you guys down when you guys talking about Hereditary, but if you do watch Hereditary, if you didn't watch it yet, skip ahead like 30 seconds. But I thought Hereditary there was a big thing of like imminent damage. Like it was gonna what's the word? Imminent like
Danger.
danger, imminent like horror.
Yeah.
I feel like in this movie it was not like that. Like they could have left, but they didn't.
You know what's really funny too?
I mean, I guess they tried, but they could have left earlier as soon as the people fell from the cliff.
I kind of feel like
Yeah.
the last 3 A24 movies. So we have Hereditary, is an A24 movie. We have Midsommar, which is A24. Also, Uncut Gems A24 movie. If you guys haven't seen Uncut Gems,
Great movie.
great movie.
Mid 90s.
Mid 90s was the
A24.
one I was gonna bring up.
That's
so
one of my favorite.
I love that movie. Also, so Jonah Hill directs that movie. Great movie.
Mhm.
But if you look at mid 90s without getting too deep into Hereditary and Midsommar or Sommer, they all kind of follow the broken family dynamic. If you notice all three of those movies, which is kind of interesting among that production studio,
Yeah.
how that happens or entertainment company. But
Already
yeah,
sad people working there.
I mean they're
Bad
good though. I will say
childhoods.
they're the only entertainment company that is producing movies right now that is genuinely they're all good and they're all like deep. I don't know. I fuck with A24 a lot. I
Me
think they're
too.
great.
All right. So should we start to wrap it up and bring it to the closing ceremony
I'm with that. Let's
of
do
the
it.
Midsummer Festival? When they wake Christian up, the lady, and she's like, "Hey, Christian, it's okay. You won't be able to speak or move at all. So just like, enjoy the magic. Watch the show."
Oh, that's also so unsettling, that scene. I
Yeah.
mean,
They just got him sitting there. Danny's covered in the flowers.
Yeah.
She's Job with the flower hut.
yep.
Yeah.
Also to that scene too, like, it's interesting too, because I think that like, I don't know if they were going for this either, but it seems like that trip that she was in from the dance has
Yeah.
like permanently stuck. Because if you look at the flowers on her dress, they're still breathing, like when she was doing the dance or after the
Yeah.
dance. Which is, I know it's all the same day, but it kind of seems like now that's like her like vibe that's going on, kind of, which is interesting.
Yeah, the final scene was pretty funny. They had like the NBA draft
Yeah.
lottery balls.
Yep.
So random,
What-
some ancient tradition.
He blows the horn. He goes, "Honorable Torbjorn, please step forward."
yeah. Oh, that's why the guy died.
Yeah.
So he didn't know he was gonna die. I don't think the guy who trying to hit on that Simon's girlfriend.
See, I don't know though, because like Steve was saying, it
No,
could be.
they said that because he
Yeah.
brought the flesh.
Oh yeah. So there's
Yeah.
other people that died because of sacrifice.
I think
I'm
it's
so
also
glad I'm not
because-
part of this time. That would be horrible.
I think it's
Who
also
knows?
because too, like,
It's like
the girl didn't become the May Queen that he brought.
Yeah.
Maybe.
imagine if it was like your
Perhaps.
civil duty. It's like you get jury. It's like, oh, I got like sacrifice duty. I got
Yeah.
Damn, that
Basically.
sucks.
I was gonna bring that
It-
up to you guys.
it
How
reminds
weird
me-
is that?
It reminds me
Yeah.
of Get Out, how the son and the daughter have to go out into the world and recruit like black people to bring back
Right.
to the house for that.
Really?
What was the project
spooky.
called? I don't remember.
I haven't seen that movie in a minute, dude. But that was also one of those movies that was like so unsettling, and you follow the whole plot line,
Deeply unsettling.
and like for the first half of that movie for sure, you don't even know what's about to happen, and then like when shit starts going down, shit starts going
when
down.
he takes the picture.
Yeah, well,
and,
yep. That's when you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, we're almost approaching an hour though, so maybe wrap
Okay.
this up. Final
Yeah.
thoughts, maybe.
So, question for you guys.
Yes.
They said he couldn't speak or couldn't move. Do you think Christian felt the
Yes.
flames when he was
Yes.
in the bear?
Yes.
Yes. You know,
That sucks.
random thought, but well, not random.
Yeah.
In the United States, sacrifice when they not sacrifice when they execute people,
They feel
they
it.
can't move because it makes they give them a drug that makes them feel they can't move, but they can still feel. And the reason they give them that drug that makes them not move is because the people watching, it's less horrifying to watch.
Oh my
But
gosh.
internally, the people who get
Way
get
more
executed,
terrifying.
they're just sitting there and they're suffocating because they can't move their heart that much. They're just suffocating.
Oh my gosh, I did not know that.
That's
So
terrible.
very
That's
very
horrifying.
similar to that. Very similar to that.
Jeez. Wow, that's scary.
Yeah.
Good lord.
Whew. But Steve, to your point, wow, I really did not know that. That's horrifying. But to your point, he definitely could feel it because the two sacrifices that go in there, they go, take this drink or take this leave
the
or whatever.
you.
The you, yeah, and it'll help you go on to the afterlife, and you won't
Mhm.
feel anything. And they're still screaming in there after
Yeah.
you hear them screaming.
Lies.
So for them to feel it,
You think at the very end they were like, what is this shit? I don't believe in any of this.
yeah,
right before they
literally.
burned to death.
Oh,
Also,
that sucks.
I feel like definitely. I don't think they had a better death, but also, could we also quickly touch on Simon wasn't dead. His lungs were still inflating and deflating inside
Really?
the chicken coop,
Yes.
which is
Christian didn't care.
terrible.
Yes. I
But
think by
Mark-
that point he was dead though.
Yeah, okay, but yeah.
They looked more like stuffed dolls than people.
But I will say just quickly, Mark, I feel like because he's in there in the jester's outfit, I think had a better death than the two volunteers. At least he was dead
We
before
don't-
the fire went
we
out.
don't
More
know
morbid
how
question.
he
Let's
died,
rank
though.
the
True.
deaths in this scene. Okay, we're gonna Simon's death. Okay, that's one death.
Yep.
The guy he was like held up like a
It's the
on
Iron
his
Cross.
wings.
The Iron Cross.
Iron
Yeah.
Cross.
Okay,
that's
him?
what it is.
Yep.
The old man who jumps off the cliff, breaks his legs, then he was hit in the head with a hammer, like probably 30 seconds later.
Uh-huh.
That's two.
Multiple times.
Yeah. Well, he dies the
It's not
first.
like
fight.
he's feeling
he
the,
dies
the
the
second
first
or
one.
third.
All right, so
one.
there's two, and then, who Mark? What's Mark? I mean, not Mark. Christian's death in a bear suit, burned alive.
in a bear suit burned alive. Josh just gets smacked over the head with the same mallet that kills the old
All right,
guy.
his not. Josh isn't bad. What about Mark?
We don't know how Mark
Alright,
dies,
so-
but he gets his face skinned off.
All right. So 4 deaths. We leave Mark out.
So who do we think is the worst?
The worst one,
What? So number one being the worst.
bear burning alive is definitely the worst.
I don't think so. I think for me personally, number one has to be the old man's legs snapping.
Nah.
no, that's the best one, man.
What?
Are you kidding me?
If you had to die
The
any
adrenaline
way in that
rush.
movie,
Four deaths. Okay.
Wait, who? How? Oh, I think Simon's the
Also-
worst. Simon's got to be the worst.
He's
Quick
just slow.
note.
He's just slow and painful.
Simon has.
Oh
to
yeah,
be the
Simon's
Quick
the
note,
worst.
though.
He's
Si-
slow and painful.
Simon, Christian, Mark, Josh.
Simon,
I
Or no,
Christian.
old man, Mark, Josh.
Simon Christian. Wait, what's yours?
Simon, Christian, old man that jumps off the cliff, Mark, Josh. Well, we can't really mark.
No Mark.
Mark-
We don't know Mark.
Yeah, I can't mark because we don't know how Mark died.
Guy jumping off the cliff.
I hope he got laid like he was supposed to. Probably didn't.
probably not.
Probably not.
Also, quick note: it is not the Iron Cross. It's something completely different. My
Nope.
bad.
Whoops.
But it's called
It
the
sounds-
Blood Eagle.
Oh, that
The
sucks.
Blood Eagle.
That's
that
what it's
sucks.
called.
Yeah, but the old man jumping off the cliff, like he probably was going through adrenaline. Also,
Yeah,
like,
I said the adrenaline rush.
No way, because
Like, I don't
Okay,
recommend
hold on,
it,
hold
but-
on. There's no adrenaline that is coming.
I know,
Like, he's
all right,
screaming in
you give your rank.
pain.
What's your ranking? What's your ranking of the 4 deaths?
Okay,
The 4 like big deaths.
we could
know.
dispute this all day long. So yeah, so I would say number one for me is the old man.
Worst one. Okay.
Worst one, because he's screaming in pain. Like there's no way adrenaline was covering up what that felt like, and he
Yeah.
also gets bashed in the head with a hammer like five times.
But only felt the first one probably. But yeah, go
Yeah.
on.
So we got old man number one for me. Number two, I'd probably say Christian in the bear costume, You're getting burnt alive,
Oh,
and you
can't do
you
shit.
can't do shit about it.
I think he's held.
It was-
That's
It's
horrible.
probably already hot inside the bear.
Number 3, I put Josh because if you remember correctly, Josh gets hit in the back of the head with that same hammer, and
He's
is like
shaking on the
shaking
ground.
and like making weird noises. That man felt and was still alive, dude. That sucked.
Yeah.
And
Couldn't
then we
have
don't know
felt
how Mark dies, so maybe Mark. I'll put him there. But yeah,
But Simon.
and then
You think being blood eagled is the not the
no, see, that's
least
tough, that's
bad
tough.
way to die?
See, that's tough. That's tough because they're all terrible. They're all
Yeah,
terrible.
honestly, this movie was just like
rather be
showcasing ways to
flayed.
die.
Then hit
Really
with a
bizarre.
hammer.
Okay, how about this? How about this? Can I do a quick little redo?
Yeah.
I'm gonna
real
go
quick.
old man number 1, Christian number 2,
Alright.
Simon number 3,
Alright.
Josh number 4,
Alright.
Mark last.
We don't know Mark, so I'm gonna go. No, honestly, Simon would be chilling at a certain point. Like he's probably just like once the initial thing, like his body's shutting down.
Yeah.
So,
you
Bear
get
costume
into
is the
a
worst.
flow
Burning
state,
alive,
you know.
your flesh boiling, worst one by far, in my opinion. Then probably Simon because I mean he's holding there like really awkward position. Probably his neck probably hurts a little bit from like bad posture.
And
Can't
the
be
fact his
easy to
lungs are
breathe.
still inflated, deflating.
Yeah.
Your eyes are there's sunflowers sewn
Yeah.
into your eyes.
And then the guy
Yeah.
jumping off the cliff. Honestly,
forgot
the
about
guy
that.
jumping off the cliff, I don't think it'd be as bad as we think. And
I don't think
Josh,
it,
you
that,
got knocked out.
I put
real
that
quick.
not last.
Yeah, that's my list. But I think we should wrap this up on that.
Yeah, on
And
that
that-
gruesome note.
Yeah. Let us know what you think and explain why. And,
Also, the credit song is fire. Right after the screen goes to black.
Yeah.
Another Ari Aster theme. Good music at the end.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, next movie we're watching. What is it? It's just right here. I don't we know. It's either Bottle Rocket or Soul.
Shrek the Third.
No. Now let's watch Soul.
Oh yeah, let's
I'm
do
down
Soul.
with Soul.
Let's do
I'm with
next.
that.
So came out like 2 years ago. Last year,
No,
Soul.
this year, 2020.
2020 last year.
Last year.
Disney
Last year.
Disney
Yeah.
movie. Or it's another cartoon. We're bringing that nice
Pixar. The
you know,
latest Pixar
change of
film.
vibe. I've never seen it, so
Really good.
It's a good movie.
Probably a change of vibe of
Some
like talking about
jazz.
different ways to die. You know,
Yeah.
probably better vibe. So
It's dark for a Disney movie for sure.
It is
okay,
really deep.
maybe it is. I haven't seen it, so
We'll get into it.
We'll get into it for sure.
that movie next, Soul. Please watch with us.
And then Bottle Rocket next, perhaps.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see how it goes.
So Soul next for sure. And then anyway, so sos.cinema.sos
wave like
at
Big
gmail.com if you want to email us. Any questions, let us know your ranking of worst ways to die in that movie.
and also send your movie suggestions too. We'd love
for
to hear
sure.
from you
And
guys.
some critiques or just being, or just cyberbullying us. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
cyberbully the crap out of us, please.
I'm just bullying me a little bit. All right. We good?
Yeah, I think we're good.
All right.
Thanks for listening.
See you guys.
Peace out, Girl Scouts.
Peace. Check out SOS Cinema on all podcasting platforms for access to all episodes.